On the Clock fans, you're listening to another episode with your hosts Raul Lascano and George Martinez as they square off and tackle all of today's hot topics in sports news, trends, current issues happening locally and nationally, as well as highlighting some of our local student athletes across the Sunshine State. Now, welcome your hosts, Raul Lascano and George Martinez. You're on the clock.
What's going on the clock fans? How are you guys doing? It's January 18th, and you know what that means. We are celebrating the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I want you to guys know today's not the day to just have off and have barbecues and chill, but actually know what today's meaning is and celebrate it. I'm with myself. I'm here with George Martinez. My guy, George, what's going on, man?
What up?
How are you doing? So I know you're feeling good on this beautiful Monday. I know you are.
I have not changed outfits since our last episode. Don't want to jinx it.
You don't want to jinx it. They're on a roll, so you don't want to jinx it. Listen, On the Clock fans, I know you guys are listening. I know you guys are viewing it. If you're viewing us on YouTube, go ahead, hit subscribe. Go ahead, hit like, comment if you want to. If you're listening to us on the podcast or your first time on the podcast app, subscribe as well. It's for free. Everything's for free. Don't worry, we're not trying to get your pockets. But we have a great show for you, man. We got to recap all the games that went on this weekend. Some major injuries happening to two major players in the game, and then their backups recovering for them. So it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful show. And also we got some beautiful hiring around the league. Different guys are going to be coaching different positions. So we got a lot to talk about, man. We're going to get started. I'm Raul Lascano. Like I said, George Martinez here, my right-hand guy. You're on the clock, man. George, sir, how was your weekend? I know that sounds like a dumb question to ask you, but I got to ask, how was your weekend, man? How are you doing?
Monday is always better when it's Victory Monday.
And then there's that. Yep.
There's that. Last week, you sat here and you picked against my Bucks.
The only game I picked was differently.
The only one. So I'm up by one solely because I picked for the Bucks. You picked against them.
I did.
It's a great Monday. It's Victory Monday. We are on our way to Lambeau Field, the historic Lambeau Field, as we continue our quest to host our first Super Bowl in Tampa, baby.
And you've been calling it all season. You've been saying all season long, Tom Brady and the Bucks will be the first team ever to not only play in the Super Bowl, play in the Super Bowl in their hometown. That's the first time that anybody's ever done it.
That's ever done it.
That they're hosting as well. It's an amazing stat, man. Listen, if you want to talk about them first, we can talk about them first. We can talk about them last. It's up to you. I don't really care.
We got to start off a great foot.
Yeah.
Okay. And we got to talk about the Bucks because their defense in this recent game against the Saints was superb. If I told you going into this game, I told you, Raul, Michael Thomas would have no catches. You would say, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. The Bucks have never held Michael Thomas. He had targets. No, he was thrown in his direction.
Yeah, but they were draped over him like sheets. There was nothing he could do.
He was shut down.
Yeah, there was nothing, man. The reason why I picked against him wasn't because, I doubt the Bucks or anything. You go with what they've been doing the last couple weeks. Now, the Saints, I hate to say it, they're jinxed. They are cursed in these playoffs.
They're playoff jinx. And I've said this, man, to whoever will listen to me this week. I said the same thing. Drew Brees is due for a home game fuck up.
Yeah.
In the playoffs.
Yeah.
He does it every year.
Yeah.
Every year in the playoffs, he goes for 2 to 3 interceptions, less than 300 yards passing, 1 touchdown in the playoffs. It always seems to happen. Yeah. And here it was again, but this time it's against my Bucks. We capitalized on 4 turnovers in the game, 3 interceptions, 1 fumble. That you saw the fumble because you were at the house.
Yeah, man.
Last night you saw the fumble that happened there on Cook that was punched out.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks played defensively. They played great. I think the Bucks defense bailed out the Bucks lackluster offense. Even though the scoreboard says 30-20, you're like, they scored 30 points. But because of those 4 turnovers, the Bucks defense kept putting the Bucks offense in great field position, and Brady was Brady. And we talked about it. We were waiting for that Brady moment to happen at some point in the second half, and we saw it happen. in that third quarter, they drove the ball down. They scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
We're going to Green Bay, baby.
You guys are, and listen, man, and people are going to wake up this morning. Then they're gonna be looking, at the highlights. The people that have been watching the game, they're gonna sit there and say, "Well, Drew Brees, he just sucked that night. He was just played horrible that night. The offense wasn't that good tonight, and that's not the case whatsoever. The case happened. How can I say this? How can I make the reference for people? The run back to that they just overpowered the Saints offense. Number 45 for the Bucks. And I believe that's
White.
Devin. Let me tell you something, man. Go ahead and start doing it now. If you're at the GM office, if you're working in the financial budgeting office, start. I'm serious. Start renegotiating that guy's contract. That guy was an animal last night. And it wasn't just his interception. He was all over the field making hits and tackles. He was amazing to watch. The defense played so well, so overpowering that they just dominated them. You brought up a great thing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, you brought up, when we were sitting at the house, you brought up a great thing. The two drives, the first two drives that the Saints had was pivotal, and you called it. If we come out here at 3 points, we won the drive. Because if we're down 14-0, it's a different ball game.
It is.
You guys being able to stop them those first two drives and hold them just 3 points was amazing. Also, bro, and you and I have called offenses. We have been on the coaching sideline. When you got to dig deep for a trick play early in the game,
yeah, boy,
try to get your offense at night, you're struggling. You're having a long night.
Yeah, that pass that Jameis threw, and again, shout out to Jameis Winston. It was definitely the bag of tricks, right? They took the play from another team that did the week prior.
Chicago, right?
Chicago, that's right. Trubisky.
Chicago did it.
That situation, right? Against the Saints. So it's funny the Saints pulled it out against the Bucks, but it's one of those things where I told you going into it, the Bucks had to be able to run the ball effectively, which they did. Both Ron Jones and Fournette ran the ball well. Yeah, and we were going to have to hold the Saints to field goals instead of touchdowns. Yeah. And in that first quarter, it was 6-0. Yeah. It should have been 14-0.
It could have been very
that changes the game because now you force Tampa to not run the ball as much. Now they got to throw it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown got hurt. Seems like a little ankle injury in the second quarter. Didn't really play much in the second half.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you start to wonder if it's 14-0, can't do the Bucks muster enough to come back?
Yeah.
In this situation, their defense got to stop. It was 6-0 instead of 14-0. They stayed on track. They ran the ball. We took the lead for the first time.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter.
And let me tell you something. Well, your offense, I was very surprised. In the beginning, in the early on in the half, the first half, they were trying to hit everything 15 yards beyond.
They were.
And I don't know what the game plan was for that. Maybe they felt confident that they could protect the Brady a little bit longer to complete those passes. But as the game went on, you saw, okay, we can't do this. Let's do these crossing routes. Let's do these drag routes. Let's get a couple dump routes here because we don't have the time like that. What also, and maybe I'm gonna ask you because you're the OC guru here. I don't. The double tight end set, or not double tight end set, but two tight ends on the field, same side. I wonder what the strategy was going into that.
Yeah. So as I think about it from an OC standpoint, you think about personnel.
Right.
A lot of defenses will match up what they put on the field based on what the offense has on the field as well. So if the Bucks come out in two tight end set, right? So two tight ends, two receivers, and a running back. Typically, you'll get more linebackers on the field. Typically, you'll get a 4-3 front, two corners, two safeties.
Right.
That was, in essence, what I think the Bucks' game plan going into the game. Because again, the Saints play a lot of too high, main under type of defense, which means they press the line of scrimmage. They play defense really with their box, which is a 4-down lineman and two linebackers. Safeties over the top, and they play man coverage across the board, and they bet on their defensive line just getting to the quarterback quicker than you can get rid of the ball, and they can play man-to-man defense. But now when you bring in two tight ends, now you got to bring a third linebacker on the field because just from a size perspective, you got to match up size factors. You're not going to put a DB on Cameron Brate. You're not going to put a DB on Gronk.
Right.
You're just not going to do it. So it creates matchup problems, and I think the Bucs were able to dictate passing situations because now you saw Brate catch the ball today or last night more than you saw Brate catch the ball the entire year.
Yeah,
Because he
that's
was
true.
consistently matched up against linebackers.
Right.
Which,
And
yes,
that's
it
what
took
it
me
looked
off
like.
the field.
It looked like they're trying to pull Lattimore away from Godwin and them to try to cover Gronk or whatever, or they felt that was more of the tougher match. You're right. I saw that. Remember, I told you, I was like, man, they're throwing a break a lot. I mean,
a
early.
ton.
Like,
And if
Jesus.
anything, it helps dictate coverage because if you see both Lattimore and the DB covering Godwin and Evans, now
Yeah.
you know it's man coverage. So now you
Oh, yeah.
know you have a Gronk or Brate isolated against either safety or
Right.
linebacker.
Right.
Or DB if they're in a nickel type of situation. And now this says, okay, let's go run the ball. Because now you got 7 guys, right? Brate, Gronk, and the 5 linemen run the ball. You got Ronald Jones, Fournette running behind them. That's where you saw some of the success the Bucs had in running the ball was because of personnel. So if anything, you saw that little chess game being played between the Bucs and the Saints, where defensively the Saints lost those matchups because the Bucs out schemed them early on with that personnel.
They really did, man. And shout out to them. They looked really, really good. I mean, it was a tight ball game going to that fourth quarter. It was nice. I was amazed. Let me touch on something else. Seeing Drew Brees in the fourth quarter, sitting on the bench, looking up at the big jumbotron. We said it when Roethlisberger did it. It kind of looked like he was just soaking in the moment. Like, okay, this is it. This is what I'm going to remember for. Yeah, this is what I got. I do blame Drew Brees on the last drive, throwing the pick.
Triple coverage?
Oh, my goodness. I felt like you just stared down Cook the entire time, and I get that, but you literally have 5 to 7 yards ahead of you. I know Drew Brees never runs, and that's what they're expecting you to do, never run. You should have took off a couple times in those drives. And again, I'm not saying go 60 yards, 70 yards like Mahomes or Lamar would do, but 5, 6 yards, make them have to respect you because then those gaps that you're looking for, those crossing routes, they become a little bit more wide open when the linebackers have to drop so deep.
The one thing I told you before the game that mattered the most was Tyson Hill was not playing.
Yeah, that was huge.
I told you before the game played that if Tyson does not play, it takes away that threat from that quarterback position, that wildcat.
Yeah.
That's a situation where you would have seen Tyson Hill play quarterback, gone wildcat, and he would have taken off, right? Because it was covered. The Bucs did a great job playing zone defense and playing man-to-man defense
all night,
the entire game.
God, it was good.
But man-to-man defense does one thing to your defense. It exposes you to an athletic quarterback because now he can take off and run.
Yeah.
When you have Drew Brees, it is not a threat. When you have a guy like Tyson Hill, it becomes a threat.
But that's what I'm saying.
Because
like,
he didn't
I
play,
feel like he could get 5 yards. Taysom would have took 12, 13, lowered his shoulder.
Taysom would have got a first down and moved the drive.
Saying that, but throughout the night, you're like, damn, Drew, take off, take 4 yards and just get down. Make them have to stay there because if you do, those crossing routes across the middle become a little bit easier to throw, and you're not throwing the triple coverage.
You wanted those ribs. How healthy is he? Because I've been telling that for a couple weeks now that he's not. He came back early.
Yeah,
he's not 100%.
No,
and you saw Aaron Donald. You saw Aaron Donald.
11 broken ribs.
Yeah, so Aaron Donald played with a torn cartilage in his rib cage, and he couldn't make it through the whole game. He sat out majority of that second half in that Rams-Packers game.
Yeah, of course.
So if this is Aaron Donald that's having this issue, you imagine a guy like Drew Brees who's taking unprotected shots.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So again, I think the Bucs came out and played ballsy defense because they played man-to-man coverage against the Saints receivers who are known for killing us in man-to-man or even in zone coverage. We just can't play with them. But I told you from the very beginning that front four, the stat line didn't show the sacks.
No.
But it doesn't show the hurries, the pressures, and those interceptions were caused because he had to get rid of the ball sooner than he wanted to.
Yeah, and 4 turnovers will do it to you. 3 picks, 1 fumble. It'll do it to you. You can't win a ball game that way whatsoever. And the margin is so small when it comes to playoff football that you can't sacrifice it, man. You really
Can't.
can't.
You can't, especially a guy with Tom Brady.
Yeah, and you're right, especially with a guy who's known to be ice in his veins, Tom Brady.
Which, by the way, now he adds another victory.
Yeah.
Against another opponent that he's never beaten before in the playoffs. He's never played him before.
Right.
In the Saints and Drew Brees.
Yep.
Now he adds that to the tally mark. Now he goes against another foe this week in the Green Bay Packers. It is in Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
In the cold.
And you guys destroyed Green Bay last time.
We did, and that's what worries me a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
we were, again, I think the key to beating the Packers, like I've told you before, running game travels in the playoffs. The Saints didn't have one this week against the Bucks, which showed. Right, the Bucks did have one, which showed. But now you go to Lambeau Field, you got to stop Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
Before you start Devontae Adams, you got to stop Aaron Jones before you get to Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. So now the Packers, Rams, what are your thoughts about that match? Because all the hype was Jalen Rams was going to show up and shut down Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams show a little bit.
Oh my goodness, man! And I mentioned this to you at the house, man. Devontae Adams like ran routes just like Devontae Smith at Alabama. They must have took that same concept and started using it. They used that triple motion, moving left, right, and they were just trying to expose Ramsey. I thought it would be a better matchup, but Devontae Adams, he definitely got the best of Ramsey. Especially when I see Ramsey jumping up and down, how angry he was. Because he felt like someone should have came over and helped.
He was hot. He was hot.
It was, man. And the Rams, shout out to Aaron Rodgers for now. We saw this just this morning. Freaking Rams, every position's wide open now. They've now everybody's got to be evaluated again.
Let me tell you something. I don't know if Goff comes back.
That's a possibility. I haven't seen. Have you seen anything from Goff that was amazing? Even when they made the Super Bowl run, was it amazing to you? Like
Goff to me is, and I'm gonna take you back a little bit to another Bucs team that won a Super Bowl. He is the Brad Johnson of football. He's a game manager, play action pass. He's got Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. But again, if he's missing one of those guys, Cooper Kupp didn't play in that game against the Packers.
No.
So it allows the defense to just shift their focus to Robert Woods, play 7-8 guys in the box, shut down that running game. And it limits. Goff can't win you a game.
He really can't
manage a game, and I think that's what you saw Green Bay expose.
When they went to the Super Bowl run, wasn't Gurley the running back?
He was.
Who's the running back now?
And they had a running game. Cam Akers, which is a guy from Florida State. He's done well.
Not bad.
But again, when you don't have a Cooper Kupp, you can single Robert Woods. You can play 7 guys in the box.
You don't have a run game. It hurts, man. You make them one-sided. I agree with you. I haven't seen anything from Goff that lets me say, okay, this kid was one
franchise quarterback.
You remember when we did? It was early in the year. We did it on podcast. We broke down, the top 10 quarterbacks getting paid, or whatever the case was, and it had like the normal guys on there. And then it was like a big drop off. And we kept wondering, like, God damn,
how's right there?
Yeah, how's Goff on this freaking list right now? As one of a high-paid quarterback.
We were debating, should Goff get paid more or less than Dak Prescott?
Right.
That was it right there. That was a teeter line right there. Dak Prescott was right above Goff asking price. And we were, oh, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dak deserves that much, but why is Goff on the list?
Why is he even on there? He definitely showed his colors. The Rams, I think, have a better chance with the other quarterback.
The guy that hurt his neck.
Woodford
guy. Yep.
Yeah. They have a better chance with him. I saw a little bit more flair from him than I did Goff. And having, not having your best defensive lineman in the game at 100% hurts as well, too. Hurts. He's another leader, just not being impactful, just
but
knowing to line up.
Bro, and you know this from coaching as long as you have. When your dude is in there, somebody else has to step up. The team's got to rally around. And I think that's what Ranger was upset about. He was trying to do his part, but he was out there by himself. He was playing 1-on-11. Felt like
it looked like they were just confused all day long. It looked confused all day long. And shout out again to Aaron Rodgers, who played amazing. I mean, looked amazing. I've never seen such emotion out of him before.
Well, for the first time, The Packers. So Aaron Rodgers has been to the NFC Championship game 3 times in his career.
Right.
This will be the first time. It'll be his 4th. It'll be the first time he's hosted
His own,
the
right?
NFC Championship game in Lambeau Field.
Usually they were traveling those other 3 times?
They've always traveled.
Wow.
They've never been the 1 seed.
I forgot
They've
about
always been the 2 seed or lower, so they've always traveled to the 1 seed in these situations. Now it'll be the first time they're the host. Tampa's coming into town. Before we preview, because we'll preview that matchup later on in the week as we get closer to it. Lamar Jackson took on Josh Allen in a bracket of AFC guys of all under 27 quarterbacks. You had the NFC was of guys of 35 and older.
Right, the 35,
Rodgers,
35 and up league. Yeah.
right. Yeah, Rodgers, Brees, Brady on that side. On the other side, you had the 27 and under club between Baker, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. We're going to break down the Bills and Ravens first. The Bills seem to have a great blueprint on how to shut down that ferocious running attack of the Ravens.
Yeah, man. I think it's that. The Bills, let me tell you something. The Bills all year long have been playing amazing.
Bills legit. Bills Mafia are legit.
They're legit, man. But then there's just like the Saints in the NFC. In the AFC, you have problems with the Ravens. When playoff time comes around, they don't look like the same Ravens.
Lamar Jackson is due for one, man.
And you're right, but
here's a fun fact. Here's a fun fact. Lamar Jackson has turned the ball over in every playoff game he's had.
He does. He's got to find a better way to control it. Here's a couple things. I think he played decent. I don't think he played great enough, obviously, to win the game. Some throws were questionable. The runs look great. At what point, and I know he's young in his career, how long do you stick with a guy that keeps giving you the same routine like this?
Well, and so I agree with that because there's a blueprint to stop him in the playoffs.
That's it.
And it does you no good to go 10-6, 13-3, right? 2 years ago, they went 13-3. This year, went 10-6.
Right.
And lose this way.
I agree.
I mean, they got shut down.
They did.
By the Bills. And the Bills are not notoriously a phenomenal defensive team.
No, they play well defense. They play good defense
coverage. Yeah. They play great against a run.
Right.
But it's one of those things where it's in Buffalo. The wind was an issue because you had some balls swirling all over the place. I've never seen Justin Tucker miss 2 field goals in a game, and he missed 2 this past weekend.
He doinked them off both uprights. Jesus, Mr. Automatic.
The Bills' curse kind of passed on to Baltimore. I know Lamar Jackson left the game with a concussion.
That was unfortunate.
Huntley came in to replace him. But it's one of those things where at some point or other, you got to expand the offense. I know you said it for almost a year now. Lamar has to be able to throw the out route. He has to be able to throw down the field. That's been your critic. Yeah. My critic's been you got to give him the guys to do so. Des Bryant is not going to push the ball down the field.
No.
You got to get him. John Brown came back, but he was still nursing an injury. You got to get him guys that are going to be able to push down the field. You got to get him first-round receivers. You got to go get them top-tier receivers to push it. Otherwise, they're going to be who they are right now. They're going to be a playoff team that gets bounced first, second round because it's a gimmick offense.
Right.
They don't have anything else involved in what they do.
I agree. I totally agree with you. I'm going to put this out there, man, and you're going to tell me I'm reaching. I know you're going to tell me I'm reaching.
Oh, boy.
Tyler Huntley looked better to me in that game than Lamar Jackson did.
Oh, man.
He looked better to me. Now, this is a kid that's coming. Yes, exactly. Now, this is a kid that came out of Utah. He's a good passer. Utah, not a great known school for wins, but they do produce, just like BYU makes quarterbacks, so does Utah. I'm going to say this, Tyler Huntley.
I want to say Tyler Huntley before going to Utah was at UCLA.
Oh, he might have been. I don't know.
You might want to check me on me, but I think he was at UCLA before he went over there. But again, he looked electrifying. He missed a wide open throw in the fourth quarter that would have put the game within 7.
Yes.
He was that close
to
bringing the Ravens back. Where Lamar Jackson threw an interception in the red zone that got returned back for a touchdown. And again, I told you before, I think the
Right.
Ravens defense was going to play well. And they were going to keep the Ravens
Yeah.
in the game, and they did. But again, Lamar Jackson couldn't throw the ball. And at some point or other, you got to be able to push the ball down the field.
You do, man. And Tyler was doing that. Tyler, let me tell you something. When you go back and watch a couple of the highlights, he did miss that wide open throw down the seam, down the seam there. Listen, man, and again, it's one of those. We've said this before. When dude's wide open, those are like the hardest throws.
It
When the
is.
guy's wide open, he's like the hardest throws. But he did miss it, and you're right. He could have broke him in there. But before that, and a little bit after that, the kid made some good throws, sliding up in the pocket, completing some passes that they needed to move the chains. He looked better to me than Lamar Jackson. Now, is that because they didn't have film on him? Probably. But I also think it's because he's a passer.
It's a better passer.
He's a passer. He's just a better passer than Lamar is. I'm going to flirt with this a little bit here.
Oh, boy.
You give Lamar Jackson 2 more years. I'll give him 2 more years, max. If he busts out the first round again, cannot win a playoff game,
you gotta make a move.
You move on from Lamar Jackson and you go find you a quarterback, or you start Tyler. One of the two's got to happen, because there's no way. And I said this before to Raheem Monroe, who argues with me all the time. I've said it all. Every quarterback that moved around, right? So Cam Newton that moved around, I told him 2 years ago, they should have been done with Cam 2 years ago. No, you're crazy. Bro, he can't win the games no more. He's too inconsistent. I know we want him because we think he's there. This is before he hurt his shoulder. He's got to go. Matthew Stafford, he's got to go. When Matt Ryan lost the Super Bowl, I gave him 1 more year, and I was like, he got to go. We can't have these.
Yeah, so as a side note, think about this for a second. Going into 2021 season,
the
Bucs will have the most consistent quarterback in the division.
Yeah.
Because Brees is retiring. Matt Ryan may be out the door.
Yep.
And Teddy Bridgewater is Teddy Bridgewater with the Panthers, which they're still a few years out from being contenders.
Yeah, contenders. I agree.
Wow.
You guys will be just fine in the seat. And especially if you make the Super Bowl, even if you win or lose, you make the Super Bowl, you reload and come back next year, you guys will be even more dominant. If that makes sense.
Now you get a full offseason. That should prepare together.
Right. Now you guys get to practice together and be together. This whole COVID thing set a lot of teams back. Some of the teams were basically, I don't know, some teams were successful early on, but down the stretch here, the Bucs have really pulled away from it. You know what I mean? Like, they've really shown that they've been gelling.
Well, since the bye week, the Bucs haven't lost.
No, they haven't. I was surprised to see your guy go down, though. I was surprised to see him take a sack. I was surprised to see that.
He hasn't been sacked in a while.
In a long time.
But again, people say, oh, you've gone 5-0. But, in that 5-0, you've beaten the Vikings, who didn't make the playoffs, the Falcons, who were not making the playoffs, the Lions, who didn't make the playoffs. You beat the Washington football team, who were 7-9. But now you beat the Saints.
Man, that was
legit.
Yeah.
It's an upset. Technically, these back-to-back wins in the playoffs are upset, because the Bucs are the 5 seed, beat the 4 seed. Another 5 seed, and the Bucs beat the 2 seed now.
Yeah.
Now we hit a Lambeau. What are your thoughts about this Chiefs-Browns? Because it was a lot closer than people thought it was going to be. Again, Mahomes left in the fourth quarter with a concussion. Apparently, he's already doing well, and he's on track to clear concussion this week. But Chad Henne, which is a longtime Dolphin, I know you know him well.
I do.
From your days, came in and talk about the nuts Andy Reid has got to have. Okay, I'm going to paint you a situation here. Okay, there's 1:41 left.
Mm-hmm.
You're down by 5, or you're up by 5. And you're on your own 40-yard line.
Yeah.
This guy decides to go for it with his backup quarterback.
Yeah.
And throw an option route to Tyreek Hill, who gets a first down to ice and win the game. Do you make the call in that situation?
Yeah, I do, and I'll tell you why. Because if I'm Andy Reid, I'm Eric Bieniemy, I already know what type of players I've developed. I know what type of repetition we've had done in practice. I know all the ins and outs. And I know me doing a 3-yard out route to Tyreek Hill, I know he can make that throw. And that's a safe bet that he can make that. If you had to tell me, hey, man, he's got to pick up 13 yards, I'm like, oh,
That's
fuck.
rough. That's a little rough.
Shit. I don't have a
So
playbook for this
is
clown, but
that 3-yard throw the equivalent of a QB sneak?
absolutely.
Because I mean, a
Absolutely.
QB sneak right now in the NFL is. I mean, we saw a bunch of them on Saturday and Sunday when the
Yeah.
games we were watching. It's almost a guarantee.
It almost is, man. You know, Tyreek, and here's the other part to that. When you're asking, do I make the call? It must suck for DBs that got to cover Tyreek Hill, because when you see him lined up tight as a DB, you're like, okay, you know what? He's going to come back out. He's going to run out. He'll run out here. But Tyreek is so freaking fast. He lines up tight. You don't know if he's going to go up that seam.
Or
You know if he's going to
cross.
read right. If there's a middle safety, middle's closed. If there's two safeties, middle's open. He understands that aspect of the game. So as a DB, it must suck. But as a coach, I know, okay, I'm going to call this play. We've ran this probably 1,000 times. It's got to be one of his bread and butter plays. It's got to be one of the first
it
plays
has to
he
be.
installs.
It has to be. It has
You know
to
what I
be.
mean? Because it's not complex. Hey, man, grab the ball. We're going to half slide the line over here to the right. I need you to roll. Just throw this little 3-yard out here to Tyreek. It'll be open. And Tyreek running an out route is pretty freaking quick. So
You know what it was double go routes and an out route by Tyreek Hill. It's a clear out.
That's
It's
it.
an old-fashioned number 3 receiver clear out play.
That's all it is.
Again, like you said, it's day 2 install.
It really is. It probably is. We've done this 1,000. He probably doesn't get that many reps in practice, but the only rep he probably got was that freaking out route. You know what I mean? Like, we've done this play 100 times. So I don't doubt the call. It's Andy Reid. He's a very well prepared coach, man. He always has been. I'm just amazed more than the throw, seeing Chad Henne run for the first down.
Yeah, that was
Dive to go get it. I was pretty.
He was close.
He was. I was pretty ballsy of him. I was more impressed with that. But the Chiefs,
Mahomes.
hard. Yeah, exactly. Chiefs are hard to beat. They were 3 weeks off. They look rusty in the first half. They look kind of, come on, we gotta hurry up and move the engines a little bit. But
Who wins next week? Bills or Chiefs? And again, we're getting a little hell of ourselves for.
Yeah, let me clean up Cleveland. Cleveland, shout out to Cleveland. They tried their best. They hung in the game as best they can. Here's another question. Him as a quarterback. That's my question. Like, how much longer do we have to last with Baker? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, Baker put him in this position from the very beginning. Now, if Higgins holds on to the ball, and he doesn't get hit, and he holds on to the hit, we may be talking about a Browns Bills game, because Higgins would have scored if it wasn't for that fumble they went through the back of the end zone that caused a touchback.
Yeah, I agree.
I think, if anything, playoff Baker is better than regular season Baker.
Really?
But the biggest thing that I've told you is the running game. They ran the ball well once again. If you can run the ball well, it takes Baker is not Mahomes. No. Baker is not even like a Josh or Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
He's not a Josh Allen. He's not one of those guys that's just going to win you a game. He's a high-level game manager. He's going to use play action pass, push the ball down the field, take your shots here and there, but he's reliant on a running game. No running game, he doesn't do well.
Makes it really tough. Yeah.
We've seen that ugly Baker definitely come out when there's no running game involved. So for me, he's an quarterback. He's a Ryan Tannehill.
So how long do you last with him? How long do we keep him? Because those are my questions. As a GM, as an owner, these are the questions that I'm having. I'm seeing success. I'm seeing we're one step away from progressing.
You're a quarterback
away, man. So again, I'm giving Lamar 2 years. How long do you have Baker has? Does he have 1 year? He have one more year and that's it? Because Baker has done something for Cleveland that's never been done before, is winning a playoff game. So we got him at least 2, right?
You wonder how long that buys him time, right? Because he has achieved something that the franchise is never used to achieving.
Right.
I say 2 years max because again, it was the first round pick. He was a 5-year contract.
Right.
I assume the Browns are going to pick up his fifth year option.
Yeah.
So again, it gives them probably one more year there before they got to
It
make a
did.
serious
Yeah.
decision on him. I think you move on from Baker.
In 2 years.
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
done because to me, he's a Ryan Tannehill. He's a Lamar Jackson
Yeah.
kind of quarterback. I don't a golf right type of quarterback. I don't think he's a guy a Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a guy that you can say this is our franchise. He's
Quarterback.
not a Brady. He's not a Brees. He's not a Mahomes.
I mean, could you imagine? You imagine that offense with Aaron Rodgers?
Right.
You
Right. And
imagine
we
what
talked about
offense with
before.
that?
Would there be a difference? And here's a question for you here. Would there be a difference between Baker and let's say Cam Newton?
Oh yeah, huge difference.
Better or worse?
Some people are going to say worse because after the year that Cam Newton had,
Yeah.
but
But I
again,
think
Cam
it's
Newton
a
had
better
nothing.
year in that offense.
I think it's a better year because you have all those weapons to get the ball to.
Right.
But I could you imagine if everything gets shuffled around? You know, everything gets shuffled around, and let's say Matthew Stafford is available, which he probably is, but let's say he is. Matthew Stafford at Cleveland. Can you imagine him being the quarterback with those weapons?
Wow.
You saw he destroyed teams with two guys,
Yeah.
Golden Tate and Megatron.
He hasn't had a running game in his
Ever.
whole entire career.
Yeah, I think the last good running back he ever had was Reggie Bush, maybe. Maybe. I think it was Bush's like final season.
And that was a washed up Reggie Bush at that point.
Yeah, it was pretty done. I don't think he has it. It's going to be interesting to see. Cleveland played great, but like you said, he got bought time since he won that first playoff game, and then you took the Chiefs to 22-17, kind of loss.
It buys you another year.
It bought him time. So I do say 2 years. If you ever see progression, you move on. And again, even if you don't see a repeat of what your success was. So if they can't repeat going 11-5 or 12, you got to move on from these guys. You can't stay with these guys the entire time because it's buying you franchise. So we'll see how that goes. My question to you, I know we're gonna flipping gears. I guess we're switching gears, however you want to say it. With them moving on, the Chiefs moving on, and having to play a very strong Buffalo Bills. Who comes out winning that game, bro? Because I'm hoping Patrick Mahomes is okay. I know they reported he's getting better, but this is the NFL. Your availability is your best ability.
That's it.
So trust me when I tell you, I'm pretty sure Patrick Mahomes woke up and was like, I got to lie about my concussion today. I got to lie about this whole I don't feel good thing.
All right.
Because he's got to play.
If Mahomes plays, I think it's a very tight, contested game. The fact that the game is going to be played in Kansas City,
yeah,
I think is going to matter a ton. And again, the Bills defense has to go against Tyreek Hill, Hardman, Watkins, those guys, Kelsey, those guys. I like Kansas City to win that game solely because they have the one biggest X factor in Mahomes. I watched the game.
Yeah.
And Mahomes rolled out to the right on a broken play. Kelsey rolled with him, stopped, went the other way, and up the field. And Mahomes hit him for a 22-yard pass. And it's like, are we playing Madden right now? It's real life.
Know each other so well.
This is stuff you do in the backyard.
Yeah.
It's like when you see that happen, it's like everyone's unguardable because you just never know what the guy with the ball is going to do.
And that sucks for NFL DCs.
Yes.
Because you're literally like, this isn't my fucking fault, man. Do you see me throwing a no-look pass? Who the fuck those
with his eyes closed?
What am I? Show me a drill that I'm supposed to show my DBs and linebackers how to defend the no-look pass. Please, for Christ's sake. Like, how am I supposed to do that?
Oh, and then stop him from taking off because he's athletic enough to take off for 15 yards.
Right.
That's the problem. You're playing zone coverage. He takes off. He breaks a pocket. You collapse on him. Right. And you protect the area that he can throw in. He throws it across the field for 35 yards. And you're like, what am I?
what
am I
defense do you
supposed to
call?
do?
What's in your binder that you like? Hey, you know what?
The
We're gonna go
binder.
Mahomes. Yeah,
The
you like that.
binder.
You like that. Let me look at my binder to figure out what do I do with a guy
Let me
like
find that
Mahomes.
page. Let me
Yeah,
find the Mahomes
yeah.
stop playbook.
And it's bullshit. And these guys have to put food on the table. They got families, and I'm getting hassled here by a guy that's under 25 years old. You know what I'm saying? Again, I've been doing this for
They
15,
signed
20 years.
$500 million contract. I mind you,
I got
half
Mr.
a billion.
The
He
Bionic
signed a
Man over here.
lottery ticket contract.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you don't know how to defend that bullshit.
There's no way.
Here's my take on the game, and I'm gonna put it out there. If Mahomes comes and struggles that game, and this is, you know what, I hate that he got hurt. I hate that he got hurt because not
There's an
only because
excuse.
it was
There's
him,
an excuse
there's
now,
a
bro.
freaking asterisk now because if he comes in and he goes into that game, that Bills game, and he struggles, people are like, oh, look what the Bills defense did. We made Mahomes struggle. Some people argue, well, no, he's probably still a little concussed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you hear by Tuesday or Wednesday that Mahomes is good to go, they fake the
Good to
concussion.
go. Yeah.
They fake that concussion test
Yeah.
because it's supposed to be all the way till Thursday, but they can't afford him not to practice. You know what I
You
mean?
think so? What
Oh,
are you going to practice different?
you got to set up for that Bills defense. Hopefully, he's
Yeah.
watching film. Hopefully, he understands the
He'll
coverages.
watch film. He'll understand the coverages. I mean, I think
Well,
again,
we'll see.
I think Mahomes does well, but I do think it's a very close game. If
Yeah.
Mahomes does play, I think they win by 3.
Yeah.
I think it's a tight game. Otherwise, if Mahomes does not play, Chad Henne plays. I like Bills Mafia by at least 10 kicks because
Yeah.
when you substitute Chad Henne for Mahomes, what
If
can you do?
Mahomes doesn't play, they don't win. Kansas City doesn't win.
No, there's no way. There's no way.
There's no way. That Bills defense is for real. And again, not that they're like number 1, number 2, 3. But they're in the top 15 defenses. Like they're
Sure.
okay.
Oh, for sure.
They're okay. They're not. They'll make you pay. And that offense, Josh Allen and first of all, Diggs and him. I don't know if you heard about it. Since being signed with the Bills, they've been playing Madden and 2K together.
They're best friends.
They're
Like
best
you and
friends.
I. Like you
they're
and I.
best friends. They understand what everybody's going through. They understand, and you're right because when somebody asks me a question, like, yeah, George ain't gonna do that. George,
There's no way.
George will do that. Yeah,
No
right.
way.
So same thing with him and Diggs. They understand each other. They understand where they're going to be at with the coverages, and he trusts him. This Bills offense, and I said it 3 or 4 podcasts ago. If anybody can challenge the Chiefs at 100%, even if
It's the
Mahomes
Bills.
100,
It's the Bills for
it's
sure.
the Bills. There's
Fact.
nobody else. So I'm excited to see how they play Kansas City and see how where we go from here with Mahomes, because that was huge, him taking that shot. Flipping it to the NFC. I know who you're gonna
You
pick.
know where I'm going. You
Like, I
know
know
where I'm
where
going.
you're
You
gonna
know where
go
I'm
with
going.
But let's talk about what you can expect. What does your defense expect to see from Aaron Rodgers? What do you think your weakness is, and what do you think he's going to attack?
Well, you got to think Rodgers is going to want to establish a run
Early
on.
Right.
That's when the Bucs strength. That was the advantage we had against them last time. Is we shut down the run early. We double teamed Devontae Adams. We made him go to somebody else. Is what the Bucs did.
Tell me, beat me by with somebody else. Yeah.
Right. Somebody else has to win the game. Again, Lazard did a good job against the Rams this past weekend. That has to be our forte.
Yeah.
I also think we got to go score for score. I think we have to
a
work
bit of a
with the
shootout,
mentality.
right?
The Bucs have scored now after the Saints game 30 points or more in 6 straight games.
Right.
That's a recipe. They got to score 30 points or more. That 30-point mark is the check mark of here's how we're going to win a game. If they score under 30 points, we're in trouble.
Right. See, and that's fair to say. What do you say to the guys or people, Buck fans around here in Tampa? Because Tampa, the Buck fans are a rare breed here. Okay,
We
and
are
I say
rare
that
breed.
because one week Brady's God. They have a bad game, Brady sucks. So I don't even know if these are real Buck fans or not, because the real
They're
Buck
not.
fans would be like,
Whoever says that,
Brady
they're not
played
Bucs
horrible, but I'm still going with the Bucks. You know what I mean?
Right.
How do you feel that your Buck fans are gonna? You think they're gonna be supportive if you guys go in and struggle? Because a lot of Buck fans are already like, yo, we kicked the shit out of Packers last time. We blew them out. This is a walk in the park. We're going to
You
the
can't
Super
expect
Bowl.
that. It's a playoffs. It's in
It's a
Lambeau Field
playoffs.
now.
Right. It's different.
It's Aaron Rodgers. You cannot expect Aaron Rodgers to play that terrible again.
Hell no. Hell no.
Again, the way I look at it is the Bucks are going to have to go score for score.
Yeah.
It's very similar to the Saints game. We're going to have to create turnovers. If we can keep it close going into that third, fourth quarter,
Bucks
we're
will
going
pull
to
it
win
out.
the game. The
Yeah.
Bucks are going to win. Because I think the one thing that Green Bay's defense isn't talked about a lot is they're not very good against the run.
No.
If the Bucks can run the ball, play action pass, throw the ball down the field, keep the Bucks offense on the field, keep Aaron Rodgers on the sideline like they did the first time around, it'll limit it. Then you're playing defense twice because now you're going to limit Aaron Rodgers or Aaron Jones from running the ball because they're down by a score.
Right.
So now they got to score quickly. So now that's going to take the running game away. It's going to open up more opportunities for turnovers for the Bucks. The Bucks got to get at least 2 turnovers to win the game.
Well said. I totally agree with you. I think Rodgers is a truckload, man. I think Rodgers. It's like I was
He's the
telling.
MVP candidate.
He is, man. I know he's pissed about the blowout before, and those guys are going to play hard in Lambeau Field. They really are. Your
And there's
Bucks
going to
are
be fans. There's going to be fans
Oh
at
yeah.
Lambeau.
Oh yeah.
That's one thing that's going to be a different for the Bucks so far this year. Washington, there wasn't any fans.
Mhm.
In New Orleans, there wasn't any fans.
Right.
In Lambeau, there's going to be fans. There was fans this past weekend,
There.
right when they took on the Rams. So there's going to be fans there. I wonder how that plays a role. The crowd noise, right? All those little things that you don't really deal with because of COVID kind of resurface back up. Again, it's another. We played back-to-back great primetime games.
Yeah, you guys have.
That's 2 in a row now. Can we make it a third for a berth at the Lombardi Trophy?
You know what? I hope so, man. But I wonder how the cold is going to affect some of your team. I know like Brady's not going to be affected by it. I don't think Gronk will be affected by it. Antonio Brown will be affected by it if he plays. Your center, Jensen, the freaking that redhead killer that just kept destroying number 47 for the Saints, just a bully. I know he's played with Baltimore previously, so I don't think the cold will affect him. Do you think the Lambeau's cold, the weather will be a factor into these games, which is why we love playoff football in January, is because of the different seasons that we have as far as weather.
When you're playing the cold, you know you're playing for something.
Yeah.
It's always been the motto, right?
Yeah.
I think the cold will play an effect on the Bucks early on. I feel the Bucks will adapt to it as they go on. You think about, Evans and Godwin and those guys. Fournette, he's a Jaguar guy, right? He's a Florida guy, LSU, so he's used to being in the Southeast kind of guy. That's going to play a role for sure. But that's always been the Bucs stigma. I mean, back in the day when they won the Super Bowl, it was the Bucs couldn't win under 60-degree weather.
Yeah,
Dolphins. Do you know the last time the Bucs won?
No,
a game under 60-degree weather.
Was it in Lambeau?
It was in Lambeau, and it was a guy by the name of Martin Gramatica. Kicked a 63-yard game-winning field goal.
Speaking of Martin Gramatica, audience members, if you're not doing anything on zliving.com, you can catch the Martin Gramatica show with our special lady of sports, Ruth the Truth. That's a special shout out for you guys. But yeah, that was the last time. Listen, man, if your defense comes out the way they played against Rodgers and they do it again, oh man, they're in serious trouble if your defense is humming the way it was, especially if 45's around the ball.
Yeah,
because I love how that kid played.
A dude. Now, how much of this did the Bucs just end Brees' career?
They did, man.
Because
we talked about it earlier. Watching him sit there, man.
Dalvin McNabb, back in the day when we won the Super Bowl, we ended Dalvin McNabb. Basically, we ended his career. We shut down the stadium. We shut down Dalvin McNabb. Everything went downhill since then. Is Brees' career over?
It is, man. It's done. I think he knows it's over.
He was seen talking to Winston, saying this team is yours.
Nice.
Which I said, let's go.
Yeah. And then twice a year,
Can we get a 30 for 30 year?
Yeah. You'll be fine again. I don't think Sean Payton stays with Winston, but whatever. We'll see. He definitely retired him, man. Brady and those Bucks, they retired him. And it sucks it a little bit. It's sweet for Buck fans because that's been your rival in your
Arch
division for
nemesis.
years. He's beaten you guys for years, and I get it. I understand the happiness but if you set aside the team and you look at just the football aspect, if you're a true football fan and you love it, you hate to see one of the legends go.
Right.
You know what I mean? And especially when they go in a loss. When Ray Lewis and Edward decided to go, it was emotional for me because I love watching those guys from the Hurricanes all the way to their
Hurricane days.
career.
Yeah.
And they were able to go on top, but not everybody's able to go on top every year. Not everybody's able to win the Super Bowl and just say, okay, I'm going to walk away. There's been guys that have done it. When Peyton Manning finally won his, and with Denver, I think his second one, he was just like, okay, now I'm done. I proved what I had to prove. I'm freaking done. So now everybody gets that beautiful welcome or that ride off into the sunset on a white horse with a white tuxedo on. You know what I mean? Like riding away. But yeah, that was his last game, man. I think Roethlisberger, if nothing changes,
Yeah.
that
I
might have
think
been
he's
his
done
last
too.
game. And we're
Think
losing
about it.
legends, man.
We can be down Brees and Roethlisberger and still have Tom Brady playing football.
It's still, is that not insane, man?
That is crazy. No, I think Brees is done.
Yeah,
As a Bucks fan, I'm glad and
he's gone.
happy that
Yeah,
we've given him the pleasure of losing to us. That's the last stinging memory in his
Yeah.
career. They lost to us in the 2021 playoffs.
Yeah.
I will remind Peter Williams of this forever.
Yeah,
But you are right. Whenever you see a great one leave the game, you always wanted to be with the trophy,
you do, man.
right?
It doesn't happen all the time.
It's just respect. It's respect.
It is.
It's the way you want a grade to go out is with the Lombardi trophies, with achieving the highest possible achievement in whatever sport they're in, whether it be basketball, football, hockey, soccer, whatever it is. But I think he's done. I think Roethlisberger's done. But I think you have this new wave. I mean, we talked about it. You have quarterbacks under 27 years old in the AFC,
Yeah, man.
right?
Yeah.
Those are the guys that are all in it right now, and there's other guys waiting to
It
get
is.
in. Same thing with the NFC. You have Russell Wilson, Brady, Rodgers. I mean, quarterback is such an important position in the NFL, which is why it's the most long-lasting position if you do it well
Yes.
in the NFL. Salute to Brees. If he is done, salute to him. It's a heck of an accomplishment what he's done, especially for his
Absolutely.
height. Because everybody was questioning his height. He had that crazy shoulder injury when he was with the Chargers
Yeah.
back in the day that led him to New Orleans. What he did for the city of New Orleans and delivering that championship for them during Katrina and everything else was phenomenal.
It was
And
amazing.
if Roethlisberger is also done, shout out to him for everything he's accomplished. He was the youngest, winningest Super Bowl champion at 24 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, that Steeler tradition is rich for sure, and he's definitely a part of it. So shout out to those two guys. I think they're first ballot Hall of Fame guys once they're eligible for it.
Yeah.
But till then, Brady's going on, baby.
He is, man. He is, and he deserves it. The Bucks deserve it. Their defense played well. It looked good, man. It looked good all the way around. But I will miss Brees. Marino's last game, man, was against the Jacksonville Jaguars in a loss, and we lost huge. Marino's last football game was 62-7, man.
Wow.
He took a loss like that. So going on with the Bucks, man. You guys are doing great.
Who was the quarterback and running back? Was Fred Taylor playing then? Or
Yeah.
was that much later?
That was Brunell and freaking.
It was Brunell, Fred Taylor, and Keenan McCardell.
Marcardell. Yes, Keenan Marcardell.
And Smith was a receiver.
We got roasted.
Oh man,
That roasted.
That was the start of the open offense.
It was, man, and to see what Marino, that last game, his head, and everything, he was just done, man. And I was really thinking, like, no, Marino's such a competitor. He'll be like, man, fuck that. Let me get one more year, and if I lose, I lose.
But
I'm not going to lose 62-7.
He didn't have the dudes.
He didn't have the guy around him. He knew it. He didn't have any more as well.
He didn't want to play for anybody else, which there's a lot to be said for that too, right? He didn't want to play for anybody else, which you can always wonder about some guys that have played for other teams, Brady included.
Yeah,
Which, by the way, next year the Bucks go to Foxborough to go play L. Belichick.
I would stick around just for that if I was Brady. If Brady, it would suck if he won the Super Bowl and he announced he's retired. But you know what I'm saying? I would stick around that one more
he's
year.
not that kind of guy. I think if
No.
he wins this one with Tampa, he'll come back again.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think even if he loses, he comes back again because Gronk already said he wants to come back. And
Yeah,
he's not
Gronk
doing anything out
already-
without Brady. So
well,
Yeah,
and I think Brady fully intends to honor his 2-year contract with the Bucks.
yeah,
And 2 years from now, he may retire.
he may. And if he was
Until
the
then-
back-to-back Super Bowl winner, I'd retire.
Can you imagine that? You know,
What
the
a
wife
story.
asked me the question earlier in the week: does he retire a Buck or does he retire a Patriot because of who he's played for? I go, Michelle, he for sure retires a Patriot.
Yeah, man.
No matter, I go, the only way he retires a Buck is if he plays 5 more years and he wins 5 more Super Bowls in the next 5 years in a row.
Yeah, because Montana retired. He didn't retire Chief.
He didn't. He
You know what I
retired
mean?
a 49er.
Right.
And all these guys always go back to their home.
They do.
And Brady will sign his 1-day contract with the Patriots and retire a Patriot. Because that's the right thing to do. Again,
Right.
he's not. Tampa is on borrowed time.
And
That's
they're
all
okay with that. And
And
they're okay with that.
Tampa is okay with that.
Yeah.
But that's all it is. I mean, he's a Patriot guy, and shout out to them in Michigan for developing a Hall of Fame guy.
It is, man.
One of the few highlights for Michigan.
One of the very few that Brian could be proud of.
Shout out to Brian. We
I'll
love
tell
him.
you what, George, man, that hits our hour mark for the podcast, man. And anybody joining us, we thank you so much for watching and listening. Again, if you're on YouTube, you're watching us, you're at home, you're at your job, sneaking on the YouTube to watch us. Shout outs to you. We're very, very well done. But go ahead, subscribe, like, and comment as well. And if you're watching us right now on Facebook or Twitch or Twitter or wherever you're watching us at, go to On the Clock Radio, hit the whatever podcasting app that you use, hit subscribe, and it's completely free. And go ahead and listen to us, man. Please wear your mask. George, I want to leave them with one little thing, since it is Martin Luther King's birthday. I want to leave them with one little thing, one little quote that I listen to all the time, and hopefully it says something. This is something that I was told when I was a kid, and I've always listened to it. There's something to be said that I must say to people who stand on the warm threshold, which leads into the peace of justice. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. That's a little quote that I remembered when I was a kid. I've always listened to that.
Wow.
Listen,
That's impactful.
it is, man. Please, everybody, don't drink from the thirst of hatred. Love each other, man. Trump is gone, so please, let's all just unify and
Wear your mask.
Wear your mask. Wear your mask. George, I love you, man. I can't wait to jump on there again. I can't wait to see what else unfolds in the news. Until then, man, I'll be rocking with you, bro. Let them know where we're going to be at.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. So next show will be on Thursday. We'll be dropping hot. So make sure you check it out then. Join the sports debate on our Facebook group. Visit that at On the Clock Sports Talk. Visit our website, otcsportstalk.com. Send us an email, ontheclock20@gmail.com. And until next time, you're on the clock.